First contact. Commander Marcus Rhodes stood at the helm of the GSV Horizon, watching the endless sea of stars through the ship's observation deck. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught him that the universe rarely offered second chances, which made today's discovery all the more remarkable. Commander, the anomaly's energy signature is holding steady, Lieutenant Jade Wang reported from her station, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. It's unlike anything in our database. The object that had caught their attention hung motionless against the backdrop of the Carina Nebula, a massive vessel of impossible geometries that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Its surface rippled with patterns that reminded Rhodes of the northern lights back on Earth, but these lights pulsed with purpose, as if trying to communicate. "Dr. Patel, what's your analysis?" Rhodes called out to their xenoarchaeologist, who hadn't moved from his scanner station in the past 3 hours. "It's remarkable, sir," Raj Patel replied, his voice trembling with excitement. "The vessel's outer hull appears to be composed of materials that aren't on the periodic table, and these energy readings, they suggest the ship is still operational, despite showing signs of being at least 50,000 years old." Rhodes processed this information, weighing their options. The Horizon was supposed to be conducting a routine survey of the sector, not making first contact with ancient alien technology. Protocol dictated they should report back to Earth Command and wait for a specialized research team. But something about the vessel called to him. The way its surface rippled seemed almost inviting, like it was reaching out specifically to them. Besides, they were 3 months from the nearest outpost. By the time a research team arrived, the ship might have shifted or disappeared entirely. "Lieutenant Wang, bring us within docking range," Rhodes commanded. "Dr. Patel, assemble your team. We're going to take a closer look." The boarding party consisted of Rhodes, Patel, Wang, and Chief Engineer Nikolai Volkov. As their shuttle approached the alien vessel, its surface began to shift, revealing what appeared to be a docking port that perfectly matched their shuttle's specifications. "That's impossible," Volkov muttered, checking his readings. "The dock is reconfiguring itself to match our technology, this level of adaptive engineering. It's beyond anything we've ever encountered." The docking procedure was seamless, as if the alien ship had been waiting for them all along. As they stepped through the airlock, their suit sensors indicated a breathable atmosphere, though Rhodes insisted they keep their helmets on as a precaution. The interior of the vessel defied explanation. Corridors seemed to form ahead of them as they walked, while walls shifted with flowing patterns of light that responded to their presence. Dr. Patel's scanner worked overtime, trying to make sense of the technology surrounding them. "Commander," Wang called out, her voice filled with wonder. "Look at this." They had entered what appeared to be a central chamber, dominated by a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with internal light. As they approached, the crystal's surface came alive with swirling patterns, and a voice filled their minds, not through their comms, but directly into their consciousness. "Welcome, children of Earth," the voice resonated, somehow managing to sound both ancient and immediate. "I am the custodian, keeper of the Viridian legacy. Your species has been watched, evaluated, and found worthy of our inheritance." Rhodes stepped forward, his training warring with his amazement. "I am Commander Marcus Rhodes of the Global Survey Vessel Horizon. We come in peace and seek to understand." "Understanding will come, Marcus Rhodes," the custodian replied. "But first, you must know why we waited. The Viridians were once the guardians of this galaxy, shepherding young civilizations toward enlightenment, until they encountered something that defied their wisdom, beings of pure entropy who sought to unravel the very fabric of existence." The crystal projected images around them, vast fleets of ships battling against vessels that seemed to be made of living darkness. Rhodes watched as entire solar systems were consumed by void-like entities that devoured light itself. "The Viridians could not defeat this enemy through force alone," the custodian continued. "So they scattered their knowledge across the galaxy, hiding it within vessels like this one, waiting for species with the potential to face this threat in new ways. Your kind has demonstrated remarkable adaptability, creativity in the face of adversity. You see solutions where others see only obstacles. Are you saying these beings of entropy still exist? Patel asked, his scientific curiosity warring with evident concern. The chamber dimmed slightly, as if in response to his question. They sleep as we have slept, but they will awaken. The question is not if, but when. And when they do, the galaxy will need defenders who can think beyond the conventional, who can adapt and evolve. Defenders like humanity. Rhodes felt the weight of this revelation settling onto his shoulders. What had started as a routine survey mission had just become something far more significant. They had not just discovered an alien vessel. They had found a torch being passed from one civilization to another, carrying with it both tremendous opportunity and terrible responsibility. "We'll need time," Rhodes said finally, "to understand, to prepare." "Time," the custodian responded, "is the one resource we may not have in abundance. Even now, echoes of our awakening ripple through the void, but perhaps that is fitting. Humanity has always performed best under pressure." Legacy of the ancients. The crystalline chamber hummed with newfound energy as Dr. Raj Patel worked to decipher the vast database the custodian had made available to them. 3 days had passed since their initial contact, and the Horizon's crew had transformed the ancient vessel into a makeshift research station. "The complexity of their scientific understanding is staggering," Patel explained to Commander Rhodes, who stood watching the holographic displays with intense focus. "The Veridians didn't just master space travel, they understood the fundamental harmonics of reality itself." Lieutenant Wang approached with a new set of readings, her usual composed demeanor showing signs of excitement. "Commander, we've managed to decode more of their historical records. The Veridians didn't just fight the entropy beings, they were originally responsible for creating them." Rhodes turned sharply. "What?" The custodian's presence filled their minds once more, its tone carrying a weight of ancient regret. "It is true. In their quest to understand the universe's fundamental forces, the Veridians conducted experiments with dark energy manipulation. They believed they could harness entropy itself as a power source. Instead, they gave it consciousness." Holographic images materialized around them, showing vast research facilities where Veridian scientists conducted experiments with swirling masses of darkness. Rhodes watched as one of these experiments breached containment, the darkness taking form and purpose, consuming everything in its path. "The beings you created," Chief Engineer Volkov spoke up from his workstation. "They're not just entities of destruction. They're a corruption of the universal harmony your civilization was built upon." "Correct, Nikolai Volkov," the custodian responded. "They are anti-music, discord given form and purpose. They seek to unravel the songs that bind reality together." Rhodes paced the chamber, his mind racing with implications. "This technology, these weapons you've left for us, they're based on manipulating these same fundamental harmonies. Our entire civilization was built upon understanding and harnessing the music of the spheres," the custodian confirmed. "But be warned, this knowledge comes with great risk. The same principles that allowed us to create wonders also led to our greatest mistake." Wang's console suddenly lit up with urgent readings. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy fluctuations from the vessel's core. The power signatures are unlike anything we've recorded so far." The chamber's lighting shifted, taking on a deeper, more urgent hue. "The awakening progresses faster than anticipated," the custodian announced. "The vessel's systems are responding to your presence, preparing to share more than just knowledge." Streams of data began flowing through the holographic displays faster than human eyes could follow. Patel's instruments struggled to keep up with the incoming information. "It's not just technical data," he reported, his voice filled with awe. "These are neural patterns, consciousness matrices. The Veridians weren't just leaving us their technology. They were leaving us their understanding." "The process cannot be stopped," the custodian explained as the chamber's crystal structure began to pulse with increasing intensity. "You must choose now. Accept the full legacy of the Veridians or reject it entirely. But know that acceptance means more than gaining knowledge. It means assuming responsibility for our mistakes." Rhodes looked at his team, seeing the mixture of excitement and apprehension on their faces. They had come seeking knowledge of the universe, but instead found themselves faced with inheriting the burden of an ancient civilization's greatest failure. "What exactly would acceptance mean?" Rhodes asked, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Neural synchronization," the custodian replied. "A merging of Veridian understanding with human consciousness. Your minds would be enhanced, capable of perceiving and manipulating the fundamental harmonies of space-time. But the process is irreversible, and it will change you in ways we cannot fully predict." Volkov stepped forward, his expression troubled. "Commander, this is starting to sound like exactly the kind of hubris that created the entropy beings in the first place." "Perhaps," Wang countered, "but if these beings are awakening anyway, don't we need every advantage we can get?" The chamber's crystals pulsed more intensely, and Rhodes felt pressure building in the air around them. The custodian's presence became more urgent. "Time grows short. The vessel's systems are reaching critical synchronization threshold. You must decide." Rhodes closed his eyes, feeling the weight of command bearing down on him. The responsible choice would be to retreat, report to Earth Command, let the politicians and scientists debate the implications. But something told him they didn't have that luxury. The entropy beings were stirring, and humanity needed to be ready. "If we accept," Rhodes said finally, "will we still be ourselves, still human?" "You will be more than you are now," the custodian answered, "but your essential nature will remain." The Veridians believed that humanity's greatest strength was not just your adaptability, but your ability to remain true to yourselves even as you evolve. Rhodes opened his eyes, looking at each member of his team in turn. "This isn't my decision alone. We're all in this chamber, we'll all be affected. Everyone gets a vote." One by one, his crew nodded their agreement. They had come too far, seen too much, to turn back now. The universe had presented them with a choice that would affect not just their own lives, but potentially the fate of their entire species. "We accept," Rhodes declared, speaking for them all. The crystal structure flared with blinding light, and Rhodes felt the first touches of ancient knowledge beginning to flow into his mind. As his consciousness expanded, he realized that this was more than just first contact or the discovery of advanced technology. This was the moment humanity began its next evolutionary step, for better or worse. Dark tide rising. The integration of Veridian knowledge hit Commander Rhodes and his team like a tidal wave of pure information. Hours passed as their minds struggled to process centuries of alien understanding, their consciousness expanding to encompass concepts that no human had ever grasped before. When Rhodes finally opened his eyes, the world had changed. He could see the harmonics of reality itself, delicate threads of energy binding everything together in an endless cosmic symphony. Around him, his crew members were experiencing similar awakenings, each processing the transformation in their own way. "The phase resonance patterns," Volkov whispered, staring at his hands as if seeing them for the first time. "They're everywhere in everything, even in our own bodies." "It's beautiful," Wang added, her eyes tracking invisible currents of energy flowing through the ship. "I can feel the ship's systems, understand them at a level that shouldn't be possible." Dr. Patel stood transfixed before the main crystal, his enhanced mind processing vast streams of data. The Veridians' understanding of quantum harmonics was beyond anything we could have imagined. They didn't just study the universe's fundamental forces, they learned to sing with them. The custodian's presence returned, but now it felt different, less alien, more comprehensible. "The integration appears successful. Your minds have adapted to the knowledge far more quickly than projected." Rhodes was about to respond when a new sensation hit him, a discordant note in the cosmic symphony he could now perceive. From the way his crew tensed, he knew they felt it too. "Something's coming," Wang announced, her enhanced senses reaching out into space. Multiple fold space ruptures forming at the edge of the system. The chamber's holographic displays came alive, showing real-time tactical data. Dark shapes were emerging from tiers in reality, ships that seemed to absorb both light and the harmonics of space itself. Entropy vessels, the custodian confirmed. The awakening of this ship has drawn their attention more quickly than anticipated. They seek to prevent the legacy's transmission. Rhodes felt a chill as he watched the enemy ships approach. Even with their enhanced understanding, the sight of these vessels stirred something primal and fearful in his human core. They were wrong on a fundamental level, their very existence an affront to the natural order. How many? He asked, though he could now read the tactical data himself. 7 capital ships, Wang reported, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Their energy signatures are unlike anything in either human or Viridian records. They're evolving. Patel's hands flew across the holographic interfaces, applying their newly acquired knowledge. The entropy beings have adapted since the Viridian age. These ships, they're not just weapons anymore. They're like antibodies, seeking to eliminate what they perceive as an infection in space-time itself. Can we contact the Horizon? Rhodes asked, knowing their mothership would be hopelessly outmatched against this threat. Already done, Wang confirmed. They're maintaining position at the edge of the system. Captain Chen has acknowledged the situation and is ready to act on our signal. Rhodes nodded, feeling the weight of command settle onto his shoulders in a new way. The Viridian knowledge gave him countless tactical options, but it also showed him exactly how dangerous their situation was. The vessel's defensive systems are fully operational, Volkov reported, his consciousness merged with the ship's engineering networks. But these entropy ships, they're not just trying to destroy us. They're trying to unmake us, to unravel the very harmonies that hold us together. The custodian's presence rippled through their enhanced minds. You begin to understand the true nature of the conflict. This is not merely a battle for survival, but a war between fundamental forces of the universe itself. Order against chaos, harmony against discord. Rhodes watched as the enemy fleet moved into attack formation. With his enhanced perception, he could see how they distorted space around them, creating zones where the normal laws of physics began to break down. We need options, he announced to his team. The Viridians fought these beings to a standstill but ultimately couldn't defeat them. We need to think beyond their solutions. Sir, Wang called out, her voice urgent. They're charging weapons, impact in 3 minutes. Rhodes felt time slow as his enhanced mind processed the situation. The Viridian knowledge showed him countless battles against these beings, countless strategies tried and failed. But there was something else there too, a pattern in the harmonics, a possibility that the Viridians had never fully explored. Patel, what do you make of these harmonic signatures? Rhodes asked, projecting the pattern he'd noticed into their shared consciousness. The xenoarchaeologist's eyes widened as he analyzed the data. These entropy ships, they're not just avoiding certain harmonic frequencies. They're actively trying to cancel them out, almost as if they're afraid of them, Volkov finished, catching onto the idea. Commander, I think I see where you're going with this, but attempting to amplify those frequencies with our current understanding of the technology could either save us or tear us apart at the quantum level, Rhodes completed. I know, but right now I'm open to suggestions. The enemy fleet was nearly in range, their weapons charging with impossible energies that threatened to unravel the very fabric of spacetime around them. The ancient Viridian vessel hummed with power, ready to mount its defense, while somewhere out there, the Horizon waited for their signal, humanity's unwitting witness to a battle that would determine the fate of more than just their expedition. Rhodes looked at his transformed crew, seeing in their eyes the same mixture of fear and determination that he felt. They had inherited the legacy of an ancient civilization, but more importantly, they had retained their human ability to think beyond established limits. 1 minute to weapon range, Wang announced. Rhodes straightened his shoulders, decision made. Begin charging the harmonic amplifiers. Let's show these beings that humanity has some new songs to teach them. Symphony of Stars. The first attack from the entropy fleet hit like a wave of pure discord, threatening to tear reality apart at its seams. The ancient Viridian vessel's shields held, but Rhodes could feel the strain through his enhanced connection to the ship's systems. "Shields at 60%, Volkov reported, his consciousness spread through the engineering networks. The entropy weapons aren't just depleting them, they're trying to unravel the harmonic patterns that make the shields possible." Wang's hands danced across the control interfaces, channeling power through systems that humanity had never dreamed possible until now. Second wave incoming. They're adapting their attack patterns, targeting the frequencies we're using for defense. Rhodes stood in the center of the crystal chamber, his enhanced mind processing combat data faster than any human computer. The Viridian knowledge showed him countless defensive strategies, but he kept coming back to that strange harmonic pattern he'd noticed, the frequencies the entropy ships seemed desperate to avoid. "Dr. Patel," Rhodes called out, "what if we're thinking about this wrong? The Viridians tried to fight entropy with order, structure against chaos. But that's not how nature really works, is it?" Patel looked up from his station, understanding dawning in his eyes. "Natural systems, they don't fight entropy, they work with it, channel it. Like how a river doesn't fight gravity, it uses it to create new patterns." "Exactly," Rhodes said, his excitement building. "Wang, show me the frequency analysis of the enemy fleet's attack patterns." The holographic display filled with cascading waves of data, showing the complex harmonics of the entropy weapons. To their enhanced perception, it looked like a twisted symphony, beautiful in its own terrible way. "There," Rhodes pointed. "See how their attacks create these counter-harmonics? They're not just destroying our defense patterns, they're creating new ones in the process." Volkov's eyes widened as he caught on. "If we could somehow synchronize our shield harmonics with their attack patterns, we could create a resonance loop," Wang finished. "Use their own entropy against them." Another blast rocked the ship, and Rhodes felt the shields weakening further. They didn't have much time to put their theory into practice. "The Viridians never tried this because it went against their fundamental beliefs," Rhodes explained quickly. "They saw entropy as the enemy, something to be contained and controlled. But we humans, we've always understood that creation and destruction are part of the same cycle." The custodian's presence stirred in their minds. "What you propose is dangerous. The energies involved could tear this vessel apart." "Better that than letting those things unmake reality itself," Rhodes responded. "Volkov, can you reconfigure the shield generators to match the entropy harmonics?" "Yes, but we'll need a way to control the resonance. Too much feedback and we'll destroy ourselves before the enemy gets the chance." Rhodes turned to Wang. "Lieutenant, you're our best pilot. Think you can conduct this symphony?" Wang's expression was determined as she interfaced more deeply with the ship systems. "I've been studying piano since I was 4, Commander. This is just a bigger instrument." "Do it," Rhodes ordered. "Patel, monitor the harmonic patterns. If this works, we're going to be creating something entirely new, a fusion of order and chaos." The entropy fleet launched another coordinated attack, their weapons charged with reality-destroying power. But this time, instead of trying to block or deflect the assault, the Viridian vessel opened itself to it. Wang's fingers moved across the control interfaces like a virtuoso at her piano, channeling the enemy's entropy patterns through their shields. The crystal chamber filled with strange lights as order and chaos began to dance together. "Energy readings are off the scale," Patel reported, his voice tight with concentration. "The harmonic patterns are shifting, evolving." Rhodes felt it through his connection to the ship, a new kind of music emerging from the chaos, neither purely Viridian nor purely entropy, but something in between. The enemy fleet's attacks continued, but each blast only added to the growing symphony. "They're trying to disengage," Wang announced. "They sense something's wrong, but they can't stop their attack patterns fast enough." The resonance loop grew stronger, feeding back through space itself. Through the tactical displays, Rhodes watched as the entropy ships began to change. Their reality-consuming surfaces started to crystallize, order emerging from chaos. "It's working," Volkov called out. "The resonance is forcing them to achieve harmony with normal spacetime. They can't maintain their entropy state." The chamber's crystal pulsed with newfound energy as the ship channeled more power into Wang's harmonic matrix. The enemy fleet's attempts to retreat became desperate, but they were caught in the resonance pattern now, unable to break free. "Final wave approaching," Wang reported, her hands never stopping their intricate dance across the controls. "Ready for the crescendo." Rhodes nodded, feeling the energies building to their peak. "Give them the finale, Lieutenant." Wang's fingers struck what would have been the final chord on a piano, and the Viridian vessel released all its accumulated harmonic energy in one massive burst. The resonance wave caught the entropy fleet at their most vulnerable, forcing order upon chaos, structure upon dissolution. The result was spectacular. Instead of being destroyed, the enemy ships transformed, their entropy-based structures crystallizing into new forms that could exist in harmony with normal space. Where there had been vessels of pure destruction, there now floated sculptures of impossible beauty, their surfaces reflecting the light of distant stars. As the energy readings settled back to normal levels, Rhodes looked at his exhausted but triumphant crew. They had done more than just win a battle. They had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in following the paths of ancient civilizations, but in finding new ways forward. "Status report," he called out, though he could feel through his enhanced senses that the ship had survived. "Shields at 40% but regenerating," Volkov reported. "The harmonic matrix is stable. Whatever we just did, it worked." "More than worked," Patel added, studying the readings from the transformed enemy fleet. "We've created something entirely new, a way to transform entropy itself into a form of order." The custodian's presence returned, and Rhodes sensed something like awe in its ancient consciousness. "You have succeeded where the Viridians could not, by seeing beyond the simple duality of order and chaos. Perhaps this is why your species was chosen." Rhodes looked out at the crystallized fleet, thinking about the implications of what they'd discovered. "The question is, what do we do now? This is just the beginning, isn't it?" "Indeed," the custodian confirmed. "You have found a way to transform these beings, but many more still sleep in the void, and when they awaken, they will know of what happened here." Wang finally stepped back from her station, her hands trembling slightly from the mental effort. "Then we'd better be ready, and this time we'll face them with a new song." Evolution's echo. 3 days after their unprecedented victory, Commander Rhodes stood in the Horizon's observation deck, watching as teams of engineers worked to secure the crystallized entropy ships for transport back to Earth. The transformed vessels gleamed in the starlight, their new forms a testament to humanity's ability to find harmony in chaos. "The analysis teams are having a field day with the data," Dr. Patel said, joining him at the viewport. Their enhanced minds could now perceive the complex harmonics flowing through the ship's crystalline structures. "What we achieved here, it goes beyond just defeating an enemy. We've discovered a way to transform fundamental forces of the universe." "That's what concerns me," Rhodes replied, his voice thoughtful. "We've inherited not just the Viridians' knowledge, but their responsibility and their mistakes." Lieutenant Wang approached, her presence in their shared consciousness a familiar harmony now. "Earth Command has finally responded to our reports. They're struggling to process the implications." "I imagine they are," Rhodes said with a slight smile. "How do you explain to humanity's leadership that we've not only made contact with ancient alien technology, but fundamentally altered the course of cosmic evolution?" The custodian's presence joined their conversation, its consciousness now a permanent part of their enhanced awareness. "Your species stands at a crossroads. The knowledge you have gained cannot be unknown. The question is, how will you use it?" Chief Engineer Volkov emerged from a nearby access tunnel, his mind filled with calculations and possibilities. "The applications are staggering. We could revolutionize everything: energy production, space travel, even the basic structure of matter itself. But the power to reshape reality is exactly what led the Viridians to create the entropy beings in the first place," Rhodes finished. "We need to be careful, smart, but not afraid," Wang added firmly. "What we did out there, turning destruction into creation, chaos into harmony, It proves we can learn from their mistakes without being paralyzed by them. The holographic displays around them came alive, showing the status of the transformed entropy ships. Their crystalline structures had continued to evolve, developing new patterns that somehow merged the mathematical precision of Viridian technology with the organic adaptability of entropy. Your solution was unexpected, the custodian observed. The Viridians sought to impose perfect order on the universe. The entropy beings sought to reduce everything to chaos. But you found a middle path, a way to create harmony between opposing forces. Patel studied the evolving patterns with fascination. It's not just about the technology, is it? This transformation, what we achieved, it's a reflection of humanity itself. We've always existed between order and chaos, structure and freedom. And now we have the power to help shape the galaxy's evolution, Rhodes said, feeling the weight of that responsibility. But we won't do it alone. As if in response to his words, new alerts appeared on their displays. The transformed entropy ships were emanating signals, complex harmonic patterns reaching out into deep space. They're calling to the others, Wang realized, analyzing the signals. The sleeping entropy beings, they're sharing what happened here, what they've become. Is that a problem? Volkov asked, though his enhanced senses were already calculating possible responses. The custodian's presence rippled with what felt like approval. It is an opportunity. The entropy beings were created from the Viridians' attempt to control the fundamental forces of reality. Perhaps their transformation through human innovation is a fitting resolution to that ancient mistake. Rhodes watched as more signals began to echo back from the depths of space. Responses from other entropy beings, awakening not to destroy, but to transform. We'll need to prepare, he said, his mind already formulating plans. Earth needs to understand what's coming. We need to establish protocols, training programs. There will be others who can handle the neural integration, who can help guide this evolution. And those who will fear it, Patel added soberly. Change on this scale, it will frighten people. Then we'll help them understand, Wang said with determination. Just as we learn to see beyond simple dualities of order and chaos, we can help others see the potential in transformation. The custodian's presence encompassed them all. The Viridians chose humanity not just for your adaptability, but for your capacity to embrace paradox. You understand that growth requires both construction and destruction, that harmony can emerge from discord. Rhodes nodded, turning from the viewport to face his crew. Then let's get to work. We have a lot to prepare for and a galaxy of possibilities to explore. As they began planning humanity's next steps into this new era, the transformed entropy ships continued their silent evolution, their crystalline surfaces reflecting not just starlight, but the promise of a future where opposing forces could find harmony. The universe was changing, and humanity, through its unique ability to bridge the gap between order and chaos, would help guide that change. Deep in space, more signals awakened, more entropy beings stirred from their ancient slumber. But now they awaken not to unmake reality, but to participate in its transformation. The song of the universe was changing, and humanity had added its own unique voice to the cosmic symphony.